My wife of 22 years. She's in a wheelchair. She's severely disabled, physically, mentally, due to a road accident. She was in a coma for 11 and a half weeks, in hospital for 2 years, rehab for many years. So she's had a pretty rough time of it, really. No, it's only been in the last possibly 5 years that when we were using the local bus, she was using the wheelchair space, obviously, in the bus, and this certain person who lived somewhere near us on Prospect Estate abused her every time for occupying the wheelchair space where it should have been prams and pushchairs in her view, and just started verbally attacking her and insulting her, and then one day, as I say, she was at the cafe. She dropped a small cigar at the side of a wheelchair as this woman was passing, and the woman deliberately stamped on the cigar and said, "Oh dear, so sorry," and stormed off. Completely unprovoked. We'd never spoken to the woman in our life before. Just the minute that she saw us using the wheelchair space on the bus, she started verbally abusing us. I can't imagine why anybody would be offended by the sight of somebody in a wheelchair. I mean, nobody goes into a wheelchair gladly or willingly or voluntarily. I mean, it's something that you need because you are so disabled. I don't understand the mentality that it seems to be a sin, it seems to be a crime to be disabled in this country. I didn't realise there was such a concept as disability hate crime until it started being reported in the TV media. I suppose I first became aware of it maybe 3-4 years ago when it was being reported on television. It just never occurred to me to report it to the police. I mean, although the person concerned is, undoubtedly guilty of a disability hate crime, but it just never really occurred to me. I just shrugged it off initially, as I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people get so used to it that it just washes over them after a while. But it made me angry, very angry, and it makes you lose faith in human nature when you realise, that the mentality of some people is frightening. It really is. I mean, and it just takes one spark and you can get that kind of thing repeated so easily, I mean, it's frightening, it really is, it's really worrying. I would now advise them to inform the police immediately and turn to the CAB support. But I would now always suggest that they reported it. Actually, do make remark upon it. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Essie. I run a business called Celebrating Disability and have done for the last 7 years. I'm a physically disabled person. I've got cerebral palsy and I use a wheelchair. Yeah. I mean, I'm not. It's really when you have intersectionality, it's really hard sometimes to understand where the discrimination, and the bias is coming from. But specifically related to disability, I've been called dysplastic. I mean, last night actually, I was coming through Basingstoke Shopping Centre. It was like 8 o'clock, and somebody threw a ball at me. I think it was kids. But there were loads of people there, and the ball, I didn't know if it was deliberate, it came from behind, but the ball hit me on the leg. So when I say it came from behind, it did, but it kind of like swooped in beside and hit me on the leg. And, when I was younger, I used to be going up and down the street and people would call me, like, shout out spastic. I think angry mother. So when I was young, when I was like a child young, my mum, when I was still small enough to, my mum used to put me, I don't think they have them anymore, in trolleys in the supermarket, they used to have little seats so you could put a baby in. So up until the age of like 8, I think my mum used to put me in the seats because I couldn't walk, and it was easier for her than pushing me in a wheelchair and pushing a trolley. Yeah. And I remember vividly, we were in the queue and somebody shouted, like a kid shouted, "Big baby." And my mum said to me, "Are you okay?" Like not, she was talking about what just happened, but without saying this has just happened, but are you okay? Knowing that I was upset, and I burst into tears. And as I would get older, people would shout out spastic and like big baby and those kind of words to me. Yeah. And it would make me upset, but then it would make me angry. And I think it was because I wasn't able to articulate how it made me feel. And I think it made me feel I don't know how to describe it, but like a combination between helpless and personal, like homogenous. But I wouldn't have used that term, but personal. Yeah. Like you're not looking at me as a person, but you're looking at what you assume the stereotype to be. And for years, it wasn't until I was like in my late 20s, I had a lot of internalized ableism. So when I went to university, I met my now best friend, who was also a wheelchair user. And we always tell the story, it's a funny story, but it was because I did not want to be associated with other disabled people. She was trying so hard to be friends with me, and I was doing everything possible to ignore her because I did not want to be associated with another disabled person.
We support victims of crime or witnesses of crime, and that's whether it's been reported or not. And it could be whether it was last week or 20 years ago. There's, any time we'll still support. And that can be support that's completely tailored to our clients. So it could be signposting to more appropriate services, or talking on the phone or in person, wherever the client feels more comfortable. Or it could be sending out resources and different guides to work on different aspects that they might be dealing with after a crime. Most of our referrals come from the police, so they are sent through an automatic download from them. But we do take self-referrals, we take professional referrals. A lot of the time people will just come across our website if they're looking for support, or they might hear about us in the community as well, through other agencies or other support services. GPs, teachers sometimes might refer students to us. So via the website, there's the referral forms on the website. There's the live chat, so they can speak to somebody 24/7 on live chat if they want to explore options of support. And there's also our telephone number. So there's a telephone number for the local office, and then there's a 24-hour telephone number for the national support line. So those are all different ways of reaching out for support.